But one important pro tip that I have in times of change and transition to stay sane and make sure everyone is on the same page is to actually have a single source of truth resource, whether it be a
Yeah.
document, an FAQ, a deck, a landing page, so like an internal page. So it's a living resource that answers not just what's happening, but why and how it affects the team, the market, the company.
Welcome to Brandidos. My name is Sanmiguel. I'm your host, and I'm really pleased to welcome Anna Bertoldini. Anna and I have few things in common. She loves Spanish food, she's passionate about great brand communications, and she believes, just like I do, that brands are built on trust, not just on content. Anna has been working in branding and communications for nearly a decade across global companies like BlackRock and NielsenIQ and other more, helping organizations translate complex strategies into stories that people can actually connect with. But I really love perspective from Anna. She talks about what she calls the POV economy. In a world where AI can create anything, the really differentiator is having a point of view. Today's talk is all about personal branding, LinkedIn strategies, human connections, and why the future of communication is not about producing more content, but about sharing that perspective that only you can bring. Anna, welcome to Brandidos. Great to have you here. Anna, thank you for being here. I really love to talk today to you. And well, we have a lot in common, actually. But tell us a little bit about yourselves. Where are you right now?
Yeah, so as we were saying earlier before the podcast started, I'm currently in Barcelona, Spain, but I'm Italian American. So I'm originally from Italy. My mom is American. So I kind of grew up between both countries. But now after living in six more, I found my place here in Spain. And I recommend everyone come visit Barcelona.
What do you like the most in Barcelona? Maybe we have some other things in common.
Yeah, so as kind of like we were saying earlier, I think there's no other city like Barcelona in Europe, at least. It has such nice weather, great food. The people are super welcoming
The
and
ocean.
nice. And the ocean, right? A
Wow.
large expat community as well. So
Yeah.
it's really a good place to live if you want high quality living,
Yeah.
right?
Of course. But today is all about you. So, yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know me, and I know you have such a wonderful community and following, I'm Anna. So I'm a global branding communications leader. I'm a speaker, and also I'm a storyteller. And yeah, my intention this year is to really find even more clarity and grow as a brand leader. I'm excited to really take a pause and find what I want to do next. I've been working for nearly a decade now in branding, from employer branding to brand marketing, and I've really learned the importance from a 360-degree perspective of brand, both from an external credibility, but also an internal alignment standpoint.
Yes.
And having worked in multinationals and high-growth scale-ups, I really come to understand what it takes to grow a brand from the inside out. One thing I really love the most about working in this field that, I've been talking to a lot of people and professionals that work in the branding field, both on the employer brand side, but also the brand marketing side, branding side. And there's a lot of complexity that comes with working in brand. It's a lot of moving pieces and translating complex visions and topics into simple ideas that connect, which is what I love to do most, is turning those complex corporate jargony sort of mission statements into something that people can truly connect with and that build trust.
Yeah. And you know what? Just to jump in on one question.
Yeah.
A lot of people, they don't know that if you're talking about employer branding and actually the brand itself, or what's your opinion on that?
I think a lot of corporate branding principles can be applied to also personal branding. Personal branding is a huge passion of mine because I love helping professionals elevate their presence online and turning their unique views into opportunities. It's something I talk about a lot on LinkedIn, both because I understand the importance of building your own brand as a professional or founder or business owner, but also for the power of employee advocacy in communicating that trust and authenticity to your audience. I think a lot of the principles of corporate branding can be applied to personal branding. Your narrative, to your why, to the type of
Yeah.
content you share, the way you build community. I think human first approaches are the winning approaches, especially now in this, what I call a POV economy, that point of view
Yeah.
economy, in which perspectives matter. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities. We're quite connected. So I think whoever works in marketing probably has an advantage, but everyone can grow their brands
Yeah.
if they put their mind to it.
You have a lot of pieces, a lot of elements actually in the brand strategy or in the brand positioning or also the brand identity, which we have to build for a company. And I came up with the idea of the brand position. The brand position is actually framework which bring the connection between all the elements you need. And I can show you later on if we still talk about the elements which brings trust and also which brings also the system behind a branding, which is to, focusing on how we can connect them and not just seeing one as a one piece. There's my vision here and my mission there, but if they are not connected, they don't work, right? Let me ask you something. You often say you cannot read a level when you are inside the jar. It's regarding actually on the expert course, right? What doesn't mean that for leaders today in companies?
That is such a great question. And it is about the expert's curse. And to me, it's when you know your value and what you have to offer so well that you forget that no one else does, right? Because people are absorbed into their own worlds. People don't have time to think about other people. Normally, for your audience, they need a reason to listen to you, to follow you, right? To interact with you. And so you need to share that value openly. And the biggest mistake that I see people make is that they focus a lot on sharing what they did, what they know, without adding much value to their audience, right? I think companies make the same mistake in a way. They focus a lot on features and kind of salesy and generic content, and they lose the why. So how they see the world, their unique perspective from their industry, their story, their experience. And the same goes for leaders as well. People follow you not because you can produce content, because I think content production, unfortunately, now is quite commoditized. AI has made it super easy to make and share content. I mean, you and I are on LinkedIn. We see so much crap every day, just like generic, empty things and empty conversations that people follow you because of your unique take on things. So having bold opinions that are super subjective to you is going to be the key to leading in the future and being a thought leader.
Yeah, completely agree. Do you know any brand or any company who are doing really well in that topic?
For example, I think they produce really great stuff. Other leaders are, for example, SEMrush. I just love their use of like memes and fun content. I think they infuse a lot of humor into their thought leadership. So I think they do it quite well. I also love Monzo Bank. This is more from a social media perspective. I love how they infuse a lot of office humor and office culture type of jokes and content into their regular, business stuff. People follow them because they're fun, right? People still go to social media and even LinkedIn, incredibly enough, to get a laugh out of content. So I think these companies do it quite well. They really emanate a lot of humanness, which we need.
Well, I start to look around for a CRM software. It's back 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm using right now HubSpot, and I really love the strategy of them. And I analyze before I start to work with them, I analyze everything. And I really love about HubSpot is that they have a really great user experience and good interface, which is one of the most important parts, actually. Not just building a brand is very important, but also if we are talking about features, how do you implement that in terms of user experience or user interfaces, it has to be very easy to use. The platform is not easy at all. But they are working on a lot of features. They have also great content. They educate a lot of people, which is one thing a lot of companies don't do, and they just concentrate on one thing. I don't know, just make online marketing, SEO or advertising, and they forget about the product, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's your experience on that? Do you have to work for a lot of companies?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see that also, those companies who concentrate just in one thing?
Yeah. So you mentioned a really great company that now that I think about it, yes, HubSpot is so good at marketing because they also give a lot of knowledge away, which
Yes.
builds that
Yes.
trust, right? They have an academy, they give a lot of
Yeah.
resources away. And it's not just for users of their product, they actually educate people on the whole industry. Because in the end, like, you probably were shopping for a lot of CRM software. There's a ton of them. It's super saturated. So how does
Yeah.
HubSpot stand out? And it's by giving away all that stuff for free and really being top of mind for people. I see a lot of companies do this. I think, I worked, for example, for BlackRock, which is an asset manager, and also NielsenIQ recently. So NielsenIQ really focuses on thought leadership, which is great. They're really leading the charge in knowing the consumer. And that's kind of their approach to building trust with clients, is that they have the most trusted view of consumers out there. And they really own that by working on thought leadership pieces that focus on different generations, how trends are changing. And they really do a lot of education before they do selling, which I think is a really nice approach. BlackRock as well, they do a lot of financial literacy content to help retail investors, but also I think their clients be better at investing and spread more knowledge about financial health. And they did that a lot with employees, because at BlackRock, I worked in employer brand. With employees, they really focused on financial well-being. So they were educating people on what it's like to invest, how to do it best, what types of products, like they were really into that. And of course, then you would think of iShares as being some of the, products that you'd want to buy, obviously, in the meantime, because BlackRock was top of mind. This, of course, is for retail investors and employees. Obviously, they manage massive accounts for governments as well, and huge organizations. So those are some of the ways that I think companies can stay relevant, is really educating their audience about their industry, on helping the audience understand what problem they're solving before actually selling, their product or service to solve that problem. Like, what is the problem? I think that's such a super effective approach.
Yeah. They put it on the website of NIQ, not on the website, on the LinkedIn page, the full view. Is this the story they want to tell? Or tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so the full view is about having the most complete and trusted view of consumers and markets out there, and also having the highest data quality and governance. So that's to us,
got it.
to NAQ, having the full view. And that's what it means. And of course, clients know that about NIQ, is that if they go to NIQ, they'll have all of the data that to make the best decisions for them, whatever industry that they're in. So they'll know consumers from offline to online, like really they get a full perspective.
Got it. I really like the essence of the sentence, the full view brings the benefit right away.
One thing I really love the most about working in this field, that, I've been talking to a lot of people and professionals that work in the branding field, both on the employer brand side, but also the brand marketing side, branding side. And there's a lot of complexity that comes with working in brand. It's a lot of moving pieces and translating complex visions and topics into simple ideas that connect, which is what I love to do most, is turning those complex corporate jargony sort of mission statements into something that people can truly connect with and that build trust.
Anna, you have been working in brand communications with huge corporates and during also massive corporate movements such as IOPs, M&As. What's your advice for high stakes environments?
Yeah. So definitely, especially in my last experience, one important pro tip that I have in times of change and transition, to stay sane and make sure everyone is on the same page, is to actually have a single source of truth resource, whether it be a document, an FAQ, a deck, a landing page, so like an internal page. So it's a living resource that answers not just what's happening, but why and how it affects the team, the market, the company, right? So having this source of truth that you can share with the team that's involved with the change, or or with all employees, if applicable, right? And it's not sensitive, updating it regularly to make sure that, people are on board, there's the latest information, and over communicating it. I think over communication is really the secret sauce to getting through a lot of times of change, is making sure that people are clear and know what to do, because that raises trust and reduces anxiety a lot in these situations. So it's really the most valuable thing that a leader can do, is make stuff clear and over communicate as much as they can.
Yeah. What was the often misunderstandings you experienced?
Yeah, we had a complete rebrand in our look and feel and our messaging, our tagline. And I was working on the employer brand side. So back in the day when we were going through this transition, we changed our color scheme. We even changed our name. This is in 2023. What I was working on, I was working closely with our corporate brand team to make sure that all of the candidate communications, from marketing collateral to our career site to outreach templates to recruiter communications, was up to date as well, right? So we were working together to make sure every single piece was updated and reflected our new. So that was something that I worked on that was so impactful. And also that same year, we worked on our 100th anniversary campaign too, because NIQ had turned 100. So that was huge as well. But yeah, making sure people understood the change, and we're using the new color schemes, the new brand guidelines, because that took a while to get people using all the new stuff and the new messaging, right? Because a lot of stuff that comes from marketing that makes sense to us and is super clear to us doesn't always cascade in a timely manner and a correct way to other teams.
Did you work with an agency, or did you do everything in-house?
Now, for the rebrand, we work with an agency. Then at NIQ, they have an in-house creative team as well. In producing new collateral and new material and refreshing stuff. Like, we had an internal team that was doing a lot of that. We bring in an agency a lot to bring in an outside perspective when we need it, but we were lucky to have an in-house creative team that would do a lot of the production.
Yeah, it makes totally sense. I don't think agencies has to be like kind of the member team. I think this is exactly the role we're going to play as a sparring partner, bringing the experience we have as an agency with other companies to elaborate really the best of we can do together as a partners.
Agencies are great to bring in an external perspective. And when you're, like we said earlier, you don't, when you're so into your own work and your own messaging and your own world, like, you don't understand that other people don't see all of that stuff. And so I think you need to bring in a team, that can help you see things from a different perspective. And I think that's where agencies can really help, other than obviously all the great stuff that they can contribute. If you don't have an in-house creative team, agencies can really help with that. But I think the perspective support is really what I value most in an agency, is really help us see things from the outside.
Yeah. Totally agree. Anna, thank you very much for this conversation. Really great to hear a lot of insights. What sticks with me, the POV economy, which is the new currency actually of trust, and clarity of perspective, which is one of the most leader has to have in the future. And thank you for sharing your thinking, your experience, your honesty. And it was a really pleasure to having you on the BRANDIDOS podcast. And everyone who's listening, stop counting, start connecting. The conversation is worth it. Build a point of view so people can trust you, right?
Love it. That's a great takeaway. And thank you so much for having me, for the opportunity. It was a great conversation. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much. You are the first Brandida on the podcast. Bye.
Yay! High five.
High five.